don't speak so often publicly about it, but I guess I'm starting to now. I do a lot of work with law enforcement, interview and interrogation. You
wrote a book about that.
Yeah, I wrote a couple of books on that theme, but yeah.
About law enforcement being able to get the truth out of people?
Yeah.
You have someone, Michael Floyd, former officer at the CIA and NSA, endorsing your book here.
Yeah.
Which is pretty fascinating.
Great guy. So I do a lot of work in government law enforcement and also in non-government, but in the areas of lie detection for companies like fraud detection, things like that.
That is fascinating. You can tell, would you comfortably say that you'll be able to look at someone in a conversation and be like, they're lying?
In every conversation, no, but given enough time, typically.
I'm sure people love having you over for Shabbos.
If it wasn't bad enough that I read books on how to understand people, now it's how to detect deception. Yeah.
There was a show not long ago, I think.
Lie to Me. Yes.
Lie to Me.
Dr. Lightman was the name. You know that show? The show about...
I've heard of it, yeah.
Where they just figure out when people are lying. I just found it fascinating.
Right. So if I remember right, that was based on the work of a guy by the name of Paul Ekman and something called microexpressions.
Like the nose crinkles a little bit.
Yeah. Which, like a lot of things in every discipline and lie detection is certainly no different. There's different camps. Some say it's brilliant, it's fantastic. Others say, come on, but there's
right. And Suits is a wildly unrealistic portrayal of the practice of law as well.
Yeah, that's true. I know if it's unrealistic, but I imagine you know that.
It is.
So what are I happen to be, are you fascinated by it? I'm fascinated by the whole concept of being able to talk to somebody, because a lot of times I'll talk to someone and be like, there's no way that's true. Yeah. But there's also no way for me to know that. What are some things that you can see in somebody that say, that's not really the truth, without reading the entire book?
Right. So first off, it depends in terms of, I'll tell you what doesn't work.
Yeah.
What doesn't work really is body language, because there's, even though you're asking a very good basic question, there's layers and layers and layers, and there's what's called guarded conversations and unguarded conversations. But we all know, right, that, the person who's got their arm crossed means what? Maybe defensive, maybe, standoffish, a person scratching their nose. Now, if I want to lie to you, maybe I'll look you directly in the eye. I'll be emphatic with my gestures. I will, be very passionate. But we all know to avoid doing those things that are going to give ourselves away. So unless you've got a 5-year-old who's got his hand caught in the cookie jar, you really need more sophisticated techniques. So, when you're talking to somebody and, they do this because they're feeling defensive, but they're not necessarily lying. And this for a long time was a classic sign of lie detection is arms folded. And it doesn't mean anything other than they're folding their arms. They could be cold, they could be comfortable.
So that's your debunking right now. You're debunking the arm folding thing.
Yes, in what's called, again, guarded conversations. In unguarded conversations, meaning you're observing somebody who doesn't know that they're being watched, then you have a whole other sort of chachma called embodied cognition, which basically says is that the body is going to act congruently with what we're thinking. So if in fact a person is sitting with their shoulders down and they're hunched over, you can be fairly sure that they may be feeling a little nervous, a little bit anxious. If they're sitting up, shoulders back, they're feeling like this, they may be trying to convince you that they're confident, again, but that would be in guarded conversations. In unguarded conversations, it's quite possibly that they are feeling much more confident.
Who's super conscious of how they're sitting right now? Me.
Yeah?
Yeah. As you're describing the different postures.
Is this a guarded conversation though?
I don't know.
What's that? Sorry?
Is this a guarded conversation?
For sure, yeah. When you've got 2 cameras on you, you can assume it's a guarded conversation.
Oh, the cameras are here. I forgot. Yeah, I got you 100%. That's really interesting. So you do work with law enforcement on being able to detect these things. They actually train to know this. They don't just